Grand evening. It's been a while, a really long while since I posted something like this, which is just a catch up, a kind of check in with where I'm at, what I've been up to, and then a bit of a reacquainting with some ways of doing things. So the last time that I posted something along these lines was always going on about contracts and contracting and its importance. I'm on the second day of a 4-day training, C4 workshop, which is about the therapeutic relationship. We're not talking about contracting yet, but we are looking at types of relationship, not just the therapeutic relationship, but the things that make for healthy relationships and healthy relating. An opportunity to explore difference, diversity, and uniqueness of relationships, of the therapeutic relationship, and of I'm choosing my words carefully here, of the men and women that are entering into, yes, the therapeutic relationship, but any kind of relationship. So we're talking about, as an example, empathy, congruence, and unconditional positive regard. And how those three simple concepts, well, yes and no. I think they have been simple concepts. I think they are more difficult to comprehend these days. Okay, so empathy in a relationship. Now, you only can be empathic to another, congruent with another, and show unconditional positive regard to another if you're able to demonstrate and do that for self. So to be able to show yourself some empathy, show yourself unconditional positive regard, and know when you're being congruent. Now then, that last one, knowing when you're congruent. What I've noticed over the last few months, I understand yesterday, I'm not saying Freedom Bell number 2 has been wrong. There was one back in June, I think, when we were all set free. And I didn't really, anyway, congruent. I don't know, my sense is that the world has changed, and because I know the world has changed around me, and it's affected my relationships, all of them, every single one, in some way, form, or another. Well, not all of them, maybe one or two have stayed steady. Well, maybe one or three, maybe one or four. But I'm going to say the majority of my relationships, they've all changed, and some for the better, and some have just disappeared. But overall, I have to say, I've struggled myself to remain congruent. Congruent means being and reflecting what it is you're experiencing. So what's going on the inside is reflected in your behavior, your actions, and your speech, and how you engage. I'm not pretending that everything's okay. It clearly isn't. And I've been working hard to remain congruent throughout this. I've not necessarily spoken my heart, but when I have spoken, I have endeavoured to be absolutely congruent, straight up and down, authentic, not messing about. Okay? Because that's important to me as a man and as a psychotherapist too. I'm not saying my clients demand it of me, but my clients, that's why my clients come to me, consciously and unconsciously. They are looking to engage with another man, you know, in a real, authentic, genuine, wholesome, nourishing way. Because consciously and unconsciously they recognize something in themselves about wanting to be an authentic, real and genuine person, and that I might be the person to help support them to do that. And I'm honoured and privileged to do so, to be in a place and a position to do it. And I was going to say blessed, but I've worked bloody hard to develop myself to be able to offer that. It hasn't come easily. Well, some of it is natural. And what am I saying? What am I saying when I say it's natural? Because it is part of being a man, not a human. I'm making a distinction between human. That's what it means to be part of mankind, then. Yeah, I like that. That's what it means to be interested, even at detriment to myself, to ensure that my fellow man and woman is all right, that they're not being abused, they're not being taken advantage of, that they are not experiencing loss, harm, or injury. This is not a feeling, it's a responsibility. That's what it means to be a living, sentient man or woman. The responsibilities that come with that. There are certain obligations that you have, that I have towards my fellow man and woman. And I'm starting to take those more seriously. I took them seriously anyway. Also I've been told, but I'm stepping into that a little bit more. So the relationships, the therapeutic relationship is serious business. It's not to be taken lightly, but not just the therapeutic relationship alone. Yeah, there are relationships that are just as important, that are not to be taken lightly, that need to be taken seriously. Ones in which people can become, need to understand for themselves their congruence, their unconditional positive regard that they have for themselves and for others, and the empathy that they have for themselves and for others. We're struggling at the moment. Yeah, okay. The British, the British are coming. The British are struggling. The English are struggling. Yes, there's a distinction between the two. You better believe there's a distinction between the two. lacking unconditional positive regard. We are lacking regard, conditional or otherwise, for each other. But the English are paying little or no regard for the British. The British have learned to show little regard for themselves and their fellow Briton. Little regard, little empathy, little unconditional positive regard, and little congruence. Congruence, the incongruence can be understood like this. When the North American Indian, one of the things that they say in those cowboy films with John Wayne in, when there's a shot to the Native Americans in their tents, talking about how they've been done over. And one of the things that they say is, the white man speaks with forked tongue. That's incongruence. Say one thing, do something that is completely different. Now, we've had 2 years of this, and I'm saying that's not the British way. Very probably the English way. Say one thing, do something else. Another way of understanding incongruence is being two-faced. Say one thing, do something else. Another way of being incongruent is telling people that this is who you are, knowing you're lying. That's really being quite incongruent. Now, in terms of therapeutic relationships, what it is that I'm offering and sharing with students is to understand how, when one behaves in such a way, in an incongruent way, how that leads to psychological disturbance, relational disturbance, and emotional disturbance, in some ways which goes on for generations, all for want of learning how to have regard and to empathise and to be real with self, at least. And maybe people are being real with self, but they're not being real with the other. So I just wanted to sort of say that as a kind of like check-in and a hi, it's been a while kind of thing. Being British for me, or stepping into my Britishness, it's good. It's good. It's good. I'm disappointed. I'm more than disappointed. I'm really not happy that the fact that I've been lied to, and I've come to the age that I am. I had a sense that something wasn't quite right, but I had no idea the depth of the lies and deceit, and the reasons for the lies and the deceit that has kept me away from being who I am and taking responsibility for my birthright, my heritage, my inheritance. And in doing so, allowing actions and behaviours that are incongruent, unempathetic, and lack any kind of regard for mankind and womankind too. In fact, womankind first. No regard. I've got 2 more days of training. I'm really looking forward to that. It's a delight and a pleasure to be face to face in the real again. It really is. It's fantastic being British, being a British more. So, till the next time, be well. May your ERP remain strong.